Welcome to the Florida College Access Network 2020 College Ready Florida Innovator Awards. Each year, FCAN recognizes college and career professionals who go the extra mile working tirelessly to support students in building brighter futures utilizing innovative strategies. FCAN is pleased to honor Dr. Khristi Keefe, Early College Program School Counselor at Robert E. Lee High School, as a 2020 College Ready Florida Innovator. Khristi's motto is that no barrier should stop efforts to support and advocate for students in pursuit of their dreams. She's worked diligently at her school for the past 6 years to build capacity for change in the Jacksonville community and among low-income students, inspiring them to build a post-secondary plan. Khristi and the school counseling team used a 3-tier approach to provide information to students and parents. Starting with the large information sessions, school counselors were able to address various topics surrounding high school requirements and college admissions. Second, in small group activities, it gave students the opportunity to meet with college representatives for tailored assistance. These smaller groups were particularly helpful for first-generation students who could ask questions about the college-going experience that would be uncomfortable to ask in a large group setting. Khristi played a key role in increasing the number of representatives visiting Robert E. Lee from one representative 5 years ago to over 40 last year. The last tier included individual support as students were given the opportunity to work on college applications with school counselors in a one-on-one setting. This led to the first instant decision day where 14 students were accepted to college on the spot while meeting with a college representative. Last year, more than 10 colleges were present, and more than 25% of the senior class earned on-the-spot admission during the event. This shift in the school's culture also led to the implementation of Academic Signing Day to celebrate students' commitment to their chosen post-secondary path. This event gave seniors with proof of a post-secondary plan a place to publicly declare their intentions at a pep rally style event that includes news reporters and school district leadership. Last year, over 250 students celebrated earning admissions in over $11 million in scholarships. Taking up the mantle to advocate for community change and providing a great example of what it means to strategically build a college-going culture is why FCAN is thrilled to honor Khristi as a 2020 College Ready Florida Innovator. Congratulations, Khristi.
Thank you. I appreciate all the positive commentary there. It certainly was not an effort by myself. I'm glad that you mentioned my whole team was on board with it, because taking on an endeavor this large with that many different types of strategies implemented definitely took a number of us working together, from the principal to the counselors to the students, to the faculty, to the parents, all working together for this goal of changing the culture at Lee High School to a much more college-focused, college-bound, and expanding even the definition of college to include the brick-and-mortar four-year universities, certification programs, and including military application or military endeavors also.
Yeah, that's great. It's sharing with students that there's multiple pathways to success and giving them those options to see and engage with those different paths. You know, your school went from very low engagement around the idea of post-secondary planning a number of years ago to over 250 students celebrating admissions and over $11 million in scholarships, which is just amazing last year. What were some of those school-wide factors that contributed to that culture shift?
I think there was a very conscious intention on our part to help shift the conversation. I think that our team came together at a point of understanding that in school counseling, that it's more than dealing with reactive situation, but trying to think more proactive. In our community, you know, we have in our community a diverse community that we work with, and some of some of that diversity also has issues that would deal with like low socioeconomic, low college going rates. And we as a team determined that we could impact that factor of our community by working with the students and encouraging them to go for their goals. So one of our first questions was, why does it go from our elementary students who are so excited about college and excited about going further to high school kids that maybe are just looking at just the minimums to get out of high school? Mm-hmm. And so when we start looking at it from that perspective and try to figure out what's happening between that younger kid and the student who's at the high school, there was still desire for students to go beyond high school, but there wasn't a lot of being able to navigate how to get from high school to post-secondary plan. And the school counseling, the frameworks that my team had already, essentially we grew up with those frameworks. We already had frameworks in place. We just needed to figure out how to bring the student to the framework and help them kind of close the gap. So to do that, we looked at it the same way that people would in a classroom and dealing with any curriculum in a tiered approach. So we did what's good for the largest group possible, you know, what information can we share through large group? And then from there, what kids need support for a smaller group intervention. And then from there, who needs that one-to-one intervention. So changing our work that way will let us as counselors certainly reach a lot more students, I believe. And that really started to then change the tide of students talking about not just meeting minimums to graduate from high school, but now talking about where are we going next and being excited about that.
That's great. You know, what strategies did you create or implement to discover the areas where students and parents most needed assistance and guidance?
So that went, there are probably two factors we looked at the most to figure that part out. A lot of it was observational data, so having conversation with students and with parents to hear what they believed were the issues or where gaps were, and trying to figure out where they were getting stuck in the process of navigating post-secondary plans. So that was part of it. And then the other part was actually tracking data. So going from that place where maybe like one of the numbers that we always track is how many college acceptance letters the students turn in, and that's a self-report thing. So we knew kids were going, we knew some kids were going, but we weren't sure how many. So we started tracking that kind of data, and then we started celebrating that kind of data. So then the kids really wanted to report that information. So in the slide that you're looking at now with Ed, that's him pointing out his scholarship letter. So that was a really big deal. So we post it right on the senior hall, and we put it on Instagram and Facebook. And you know, thank goodness Instagram was invented, because that's the easiest way to celebrate a student these days, because they love it when it's on Instagram for something good like that. So so those kinds of strategies, we definitely looked at two different types of data. One, you know, that listening, observing, figuring out, listening to conversations in the hall, listening to conversations in the classroom, listening to what questions the parents were asking. And then that observation, talking with, you know, where was the student going afterwards? What transcripts were they requesting? And then feedback from graduates when they left. So when would come back to visit the high school, you know, where did they see gaps in service, and how could we have helped them better, or what did they think was working?
Nice. I love how you looked at the data and kind of measured the progress all the way through to see, okay, where are we seeing things break down where maybe more supports are necessary. You know, clearly you set out to shift really the community-wide perspective around the school, around post-secondary plans, and you know, that's just the preparation for your entire team is enormous. You know, what we're seeing time and again is how valuable partnerships are in providing some of those additional supports for students and families. So where did you see an opportunity for partnerships? What were some of those partner organizations that were willing to get involved and participate? And how did you go about garnering some of that support?
So I would say that some of the partnerships that came with this work, not only within our team, but then in our district, we already had conversation in place about vertical teaming. So we already had lifelines from elementary to middle to high school between counselors, so we could kind of know, so we are a little more aware of what was being offered in elementary school, what's being offered in middle school, and now what's being offered in high school. But then we kind of expanded beyond that, and our essential partnerships, I think, outside of our school community or outside of Lee school community, is one of the schools down the road from us, KIP. I think that you guys know KIP and Aaron Almond. So KIP is down the road from us. They're sending students to us, and they follow through with their kids. And so this was something that was easy to kind of like circle them right into our conversation, and provide them space here at our school for them to meet with their students. And then they turned in, and in turn, they helped us with some of our activities, some of the larger ones, like Instant Decision Day. They come and they help facilitate, and so it's not just the couple of counselors here, but then we have other people that are familiar to the students. So that worked really well with KIP and that relationship we have with them. And then fostering relationship with the colleges, like the admission coordinators that come, so like FSU and CARE and that bridge program, those reps know our students really well. So these are, in fact, we were just talking about, we need to reach out to FSU and talk to them about how might we change our college conversations for the fall. So if the buildings aren't open, kids are still going to need to know the information. So what are their ideas? What are our ideas? And we need to start working on them now to have them in place for August, September. So those relationships with the college reps really, really help. And they have really stepped up and have been very willing to meet with our students and help us with college application days and instant decision days. And then we have, here in our community, we have Florida State College at Jacksonville, and the relationship with them has been essential in helping our students better understand the 2+2 system, where they can do an AA degree and then transfer to university, or certification programs. And their admission reps are on our campus at least once a quarter to help students with that application process. They help us with financial aid applications, so we don't have to know all that information. They're the experts on it, so that really helps. And then we have a very strong relationship with University of North Florida that we have fostered over the years. And here in the UNF is right here in town, and they have student support Gear Up grant. And so they actually have a cohort of students that has moved through the middle school, and they are now at our school. And we have an instructor that works with them, or faculty that work with that group of students to help make sure that they're staying on track for college too. But all of those have been relationships, and I don't feel like we probably do really anything different than other high schools do. They are relationships that we have worked on for a few years to develop. So, you know, we didn't wake up yesterday and say, tomorrow all these people are going to be our friends. But it took time, and sometimes the things were really small to start out with. So our very first instant decision day was with Bethune-Cookman, which, by the way, Bethune-Cookman advisor is amazing. Our first instant decision day was with Bethune-Cookman, and he sat down with 15 students and talked with each one of them about their application, what else they needed to do. Either they were accepted right on the spot, or he told them this is where the gap is. And for those kids to be able to hear from the advisor, from the college campus, oh, I just need to take ACT one more time, or oh, I just need to do that essay, or you know, there's that one other little piece. That really was a big shift in our culture here at the school, because then the kids understood, like, this could be real. This could really be for me.
Well, and it's within reach now. They could see that it's not, you know, pie in the sky so far away, it's a long shot. You know, when you hear it's a step or two, it starts to feel more doable and within reach. Yeah. Well, Khristi, your framework, that strategic framework of going from what's the information that the larger group needs, and then kind of narrowing down supports to those who need that extra support really was what stood out with your nomination. We are so excited to honor you and so appreciate all the work you're doing for your students. The numbers speak for themselves in terms of building so many brighter futures, and for that we are thrilled to recognize you as a College Ready Florida Innovator this year. Thank you so much for all the work you're doing for your students.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to work for Duval County Public Schools for the last couple decades now. But yeah, the work that we do as school counselors here at Duval County Public Schools has been absolutely amazing. And to think about all of these students and all these pictures that you guys pulled up on the slideshow reminded me of what really is important about our work and who we're really actually helping with this work makes all the effort worth it.
Yeah, great. Thank you.